Hey podcast, just recording this little intro on the run in my little van on the road here in Cronulla at the moment. I'm actually about to meet up with Jack Baker to record an interview which you'll listen to once it's published and out there for you all to enjoy. But this is the intro for the Lachlan Cramsie episode, which was recorded a couple of months back when this New South Welshman was up in the Sunshine State, known as Queensland. Caught up with Lachie Cramsie near his home zone, had a great chat, had a little surf with him. Really interesting character. He's quite a great competitor, really top bloke, and someone who I really think we haven't really seen the best of yet, and there is much more to come. So enjoy this episode. Thanks for all your support. Little reminder, got some Boogie t-shirts, got a couple of the Science Boogie collab boards still available. If you're interested, just hit me up in the DM. But yeah, thanks a lot for all the support, guys, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Cheers. And then I reckon we're good for it. Welcome to another episode of the Boogie podcast. I'm your host, Josh Kirkman, and this is the guest, Lachie Cramsie.
G'day.
Thanks for joining me, mate.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Beautiful day, as you can see behind us.
And your local hood.
Yeah.
Where are we exactly? Let's
Welcome.
situate ourselves. Let the viewer know where we're at.
All right, so at the moment we're at Yarumba, so it's a little point here. We just came in from a little boogie board and you had a surf.
A little surf
shredding
on
up
your
on the 20, on your new 20. So I did a couple of spinners.
You did.
But that's about all we had out there. But yeah, we were just saying how nice the water is here. Still in the springy in the middle of winter.
Yeah, fully.
And it's it's just a beautiful day here. So.
You're saying this is one of your more higher performance surfing spots. Like, is that what you'd say? Like, is
yeah.
it?
I think so. I mean, definitely stand-up surfing. This is where all the pros basically on the coast end up when it's good. It's really good for shooting.
Yeah.
And when the banks are right, it's like a really big, not big, but it's like a powerful wave.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like a nice shore break for bodyboarding, and out back it's really good for surfing. So okay. I guess when the banks are right, this is kind of where a lot of people end up.
Yeah. Is it predominantly like, because we've got like a bit of a northerly wind today, and it gives it a slight offshore on the right-handers?
Yep.
Is this the predominant wind that you'd come here on? You'd be like, okay, it's blowing that northerly direction. I'm going to Yarumba. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it is the middle of winter now, but we're in summer when we do get these northerlies. Like it can be good for like a week straight or whatever.
Yeah.
So it does get crowded here, but. Yeah, it's a beautiful beach.
Yeah, it's
and the
so
waves
nice.
get really fun.
Yeah. So when we were out there, I was asking you about the shark nets, which are just kind of like placed down the beach, but don't seem to be out the front of where we were. Like, so what's the go there? Like, do you want to explain for the listener and the viewer, like, how do these shark nets actually kind of work? What's their idea, and what's the go? Yeah,
without sort of getting in trouble and saying too much wrong, it's sort of It's more for, I reckon it's more for the swimmers and the people that aren't sort of from here. They sort of look out and see some boys when they're at the flags or at the patrolled area, and they see that and think it's pretty safe. So I mean, as we're surfing here, like near a point, there's nothing out there, just a couple of rocks and that, and we saw we actually saw the shark boat come past, and they just check up on the drum lines and the actual what do you call it? What else do we have? The nets, and they just check up to see if there's any bycatch or any sharks caught. Yeah. Generally, there's pretty much nothing, but usually every time the actual drum lines, they'll be baited from fish and everything just to take.
They'll get a shark for sure, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they do get sharks all the time, but I mean, usually it can get baited straight away if dolphins tend to follow that actual shark boat.
No, you're kidding.
They take the big chunk of whatever it is, chicken, steak or tuna, straight off the hook straight away. So,
they just nibble it off the hook?
Yeah, they'll just nibble it off. They won't get caught.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I've been told that. That's a pretty funny
So it's
story.
a free feed for the dolphins.
Yeah, they just follow them.
And they're smart as hell, right? So they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, they know exactly what's going on.
That's
just a free feed.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is we were just surfing. Yeah, like there's nice patches of reef out the back here as well, and you know, you can just assume that some there'd be some activity off those reefs there. Like you spearfish here sometimes.
Yeah, spearfished here a few times, and I haven't seen any big sharks here, although there's been some big ones caught years ago here. But yeah, you see some big fish. You get Spanish mackerel and all that around here. So people bring them in from shore dives at times. So if there's big fish, there's going to be some big sharks.
Yeah, of course. Just the deal, eh?
Yeah.
Just the deal. All right, so this is a nice little introduction to where we're sitting today. That was a good one.
Yeah.
So we're on the Sunshine Coast. I've just driven down from Noosa.
Yep.
I've kind of met you halfway. You're down at Maroochydore Way, is that what we're looking at in the distance there? So is this where you grew up, or is this where bodyboarding began for you on this coastline here?
Pretty much, for sure. I'd say, when I was really young, I was in Brisbane, and then I got into, so basically how it started, I got into surf lifesaving. My dad was super into it, and he was a lifeguard many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
He was the lifeguard sort of down south at Bondi actually for a bit.
Okay.
And Tamarama and stuff.
The original Bondi lifeguard.
Yeah, super OG for a little bit. And then moved to Brisbane. We moved up here and I started competing in nippers and surf lifesaving at Maroochydore. So I've competed for them for however many years. I don't really compete anymore, but still a member of the club.
I was going to say, that's the thing you never change, right? You never really change your surf club membership.
Yeah, no, not really, hey.
No matter, even if you moved to the next town and there's a surf club there, you definitely wouldn't join their club.
Stay at the one.
Yeah, it's so funny, hey.
Yeah, it's always like that. So, so I did that, I don't know, maybe when I was 10 or something, and then I just started coming up here from Brisbane sort of every weekend and really enjoying the beach, and I'd be begging Dad to take Friday off, and then we'd stay up here till Sunday and go back to Brisbane. And then we ended up moving up here, which was an awesome choice.
Yeah,
it's just so beautiful.
So how old were you then? 10, 11?
I reckon probably 12 or something.
Okay,
so,
right.
And then got pretty into the surf lifesaving and competing for such a young age, and started enjoying that. Started doing sort of fairly well, so I kind of started chasing that and getting really into my training, swimming training and the board paddling, Ironman training. Really enjoying that. So I did that for years, but as I was doing that, I started getting into surfing. Like on Sundays, we'd get there early at 7 or 6:30. I'd go for a surf super early, and then we'd go and do training.
Yeah.
And then we'd have like a 2-hour break, and I'd go out bodyboard or surf, and then we'd have another midday session. Jeez. And then I'd go and do something, and then we'd have an afternoon session as well.
Jesus.
On our Sundays. So it was huge days on the beach, and as everyone used to do, like you'd always finish off your weekend super sunburnt and absolutely drained.
You must have been fried.
And nothing some hot chips and a bloody Pepsi or something can't fix so at that age. Started doing that, and that was awesome. And then I think everyone sort of slowly grows out of it. I still really enjoyed the water, but started growing out of the competing in surf lifesaving.
Yeah.
So just started really getting into catching waves, and I was actually surfing a lot back then, say when I was 12 to 14, and I ended up breaking my arm at some stage. I can't even recall how I did it, doing something dumb, I think at school. And I couldn't surf because I had a cast on, and the surf was big. Well, it was pretty solid here at that age, and we'd always go down to a shore break just to close out at Mooloolaba there.
Yeah.
And it must have been when my arm was almost healed, but I was still in a cast. And I obviously couldn't surf, so I'd just take the bodyboard out with the cast and just kind of like slide into these little closeouts.
That's funny. So this is like at the age of about 14?
Probably 12. Yeah, 12 or 13 or something.
All right.
But it was sort of when it kind of clicked, and I was like, I had a broken arm, but I was like, I'm having so much bloody fun on the bodyboard. Even just getting barrels and getting closeouts with a broken arm, like
it's pretty risky
too. Yeah, no, it probably wasn't the best idea.
No.
But and I think that's where it kind of clicked, and I was like, look, I want to do this more than surfing and more than surf lifesaving or Ironman stuff.
That's interesting. I mean, just picking up on something. First, the irony for me of a crippled person becoming a cripple full-time in life is kind of funny in itself. You know, we get called lots of names in bodyboarding, and one of them is a cripple. Not that there's anything wrong with having a disability, but it's kind of ironic that you had an injury which brought it on for you.
Yeah.
But was it also that? Did you have that? Was your friendship group also bodyboarding at the time, or was it? Or was it
probably both. So
okay.
So it started off, a bit of both at the young age, and then we went to like surfing and bodyboarding, and there was Alexandra Headland, so it's Mooloolaba, Alex, and then Maroochydore.
Yeah.
We'd go to Alex after school or something with a group of us, and what we ended up doing, there'd always be like a tiny little shorey there, and we'd just go down there, and it'd be perfect for run-ins. Like, so just sprinting down with the board and jump on and do some airs out to the ocean. And we did that for ages. It just must have been the way the banks were at that stage. But we must have had a year or two doing that all the time. And and so that got us just into riding bodyboards and that. And I think that's where it kicked off, between the broken arm and catching some closeouts and really enjoying getting barrels, to using the bodyboard for run-ins and that. It just kind of all clicked, and I was like, man, bodyboarding's epic. Like, I just love a bodyboard in general. Like, there's so many things to do on it, and at that age, like, you could do it for everything. You could be, it could be raining, you could be sliding down on the bloody sand or the grass.
It's remarkably versatile.
Yeah, you can can just do anything on it. So
that's
that's probably how it started, I reckon, with the broken arm, and then doing the run-ins at a young age with just a group of mates, and then it's sort of started getting older, and I think times changed and everyone started riding surfboards. Like, my group from school started riding surfboards.
There is that moment where a lot of people, they just switch, right?
Yeah,
like,
they
do. There is that switching time.
That's right. So
why didn't you go back?
I think I just had too much fun.
Were you already competing then when they were switching back though? Were you already into club comps and stuff?
It would have been right at the start, so getting towards the age of 14. 14, 15, 14. And,
were you competing in Grom? Like, were you doing state titles and stuff like that by then?
I didn't do Grom, so I think it was 14.
So cadets was when you started?
Yeah, cadets. The first year of cadets was my first year. Yeah.
I don't know all of your competitive history, but did you get any of those national titles? Or
I did.
Which one did you get?
I got to cadets.
Oh, you got a cadets national title?
Yeah, I did get a cadets, yeah.
Wow, so, I mean, this is pretty interesting. So you're saying, and this is kind of repeats itself a lot, I don't know what it is about this reality with you guys, but Joe Clark is similar. I was talking to Craig Wetter the other day for his podcast as well, and like, you guys really got into this quite late, but had really rapid growth in your abilities. Like, to win a national title in cadets, which is one of the most competitive divisions, I think, when it comes to that. So what, 2 years after you took bodyboarding seriously?
Yeah, almost.
More or less, like 2 to 3 years. Like, that's pretty remarkable.
And I think that sort of, it's when it came down to like the wave riding background for surf lifesaving and all that, like
confidence. Yeah,
the confidence of waves, and at that age you just want to catch heaps of waves, and that's all I was doing. I was just out there all the time, and so it kind of just came to me that like bodyboarding's so much fun, so I spent so many hours out there at that age. And
were you just out there every single day? As soon as like it was your thing, you were 100%?
At that age, for sure. Like, it could be so bad. There could be blue bottles, there could be whatever. And you're out there in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden you're getting yelled at by your parents to come in because it's getting late.
I know that.
Which would happen most afternoons.
I know, just always pointing like a parent on the beach. I'm like, just one more, one more, and then they're like, righto, one more, and then it takes another 15 minutes. And they're fuming. And
then I get the embarrassment of, because growing up at Maroochydore, if I was bodyboarding there, I'd know all the lifeguards, and my parents would yell out and they'd PA me.
Oh no!
PA, and I'm just like, head down, coming in like,
they'd get on the PA.
Cramsie, can you please come in? Your parents have been waiting for an hour. I'm just like,
so funny.
Jeez.
That's so funny. But also that, like, this whole, I mean, you and I have pretty similar backgrounds there, with the surf lifesaving being so important or predominant. I was really into it as well as a kid, and paddling the boards and like doing the different state titles and all that kind of stuff, and really being into it up until the age of 13. And then super competitive as well, loved winning, loved being at the front of the pack, not in the middle. Do you feel like that competitive history and that focus is what really helped you move so quickly into bodyboarding competitively?
100%, I think. Like, there's yeah, there's nothing like winning. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone would think the same, but you want to be first. You never
Yeah.
want to be. You don't want to not be first ever. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think there's that's where a lot of it came from. Just the passion in something like. There was always the passion for surf lifesaving, but when I found bodyboarding, it was like, all right, I want to be the best at this.
Yeah.
Straight away, like at that young age too, at 12, 14.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I know
I
exactly
want to
the
be.
same feeling.
And that, like, there wasn't so much dedication because there was so much fun in it at that age, but that's probably another reason why there were so many hours put in the water, like before or after school, until dark. So
yeah, it's funny that whole cadet national title is like I like looking at the history books on that one because in Australia it's actually like a really good club. I'm in the club, you're in the club.
Yeah.
Mitch, Andrew Lester. I think I saw once that Adam Keegan as well was a cadet national champion.
Yeah.
So there's all these like kind of names, and I remember seeing it myself at the time. I was like, I need to win. Like, I want to win the cadet national title. Like, I really wanted to win the cadet national title because I was like, that's the one that matters. This is the one that says something about the future.
It's massive,
yeah.
for the future.
Yeah, so I always loved that, and it's a cool little thing to be on that list.
And
but
I do remember it was pretty much my first actual year of competing, and it was just like, it was at D-Bar there. At
oh, was it?
Yeah, and it was.
What year was that then? Shit. That must have been like early 2000s, or
yeah.
And who was in the final? Do you remember who was in the final with you?
Or
who were the main guys at that time?
The main guys was definitely George, Louis.
Oh, this is your generation, isn't it?
Thorpe Walyu. I think who?
One of those guys must have been in the final with you, surely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It should have been basically all of us.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think who else. Tom Rigby, he was like a year older, but okay. I know I versed him maybe in my first year, or maybe first year of juniors or something.
Yeah. But that's a pretty competitive year then in bodyboarding for sure.
Yeah, it was, especially back then when everyone was doing it. Like it was high intense. Like, and I just remember because I didn't know much at all about bodyboarding because it was my first year. I rocked up and saw like just all these big names at D-Bar, and I was like, oh my god, this is huge.
Yeah.
Like, this is bodyboarding and this is huge, and I don't know anything about it, but look at all these massive names that are here. Like everyone's there.
That is so funny.
And so, yeah, when that happened, I think that was another like little moment where I was like, wow, I want to keep doing this. This is legit. And I want to keep following this, and I want to be one of these dudes that are older that everyone is kind of staring at and just frothing over like I was.
Yeah. Do you remember the final? Do you remember your final? Because the one you won it.
I know.
Surely you remember something about it.
All I remember was it was just intense between me, George, and Louis, and Davis must have been in the year below because I know one year we didn't verse Davis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember because I didn't know their names then because it was so early on. I'd only been doing it, and yeah, like that's probably when we all started getting our name. Like Wingers had his Star Surf clip, I believe it was, and he was so young, whatever age he was, 12 or 13, and like he was ripping in that, and I was like, oh my god, these are the boys I'm versing. Like, and like they were getting sick clips of them over in WA and just getting super fun waves and you know, like flipping every wave or doing inverts and stuff. And at that age, I was just looking at it going like, I want to do this.
Did you feel like I remember that WA threat as well? Because for me it was Brad Hughes.
Yeah,
he was the guy over in WA who I saw, and he won so many comps when we were younger. Like I think he might have won every grommet freaking national title.
Really?
Like even from a really young age, and he was just like, but his style was so advanced and his power was on a different level to the rest of us on the East Coast, and I think like there always seemed to be this thing with the WA riders where they just had this extra power that we just never had here at that age because we just didn't maybe have the exposure to those waves. I think. But they came across strong. They came on real strong.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, super advanced, and I guess maybe it helped having Hardy and Virtue and all that kind of generation before Louis and George and that to kind of look at and go, okay, this is how we should do it too. But yeah, crazy how powerful the WA guys are at a young age.
Yeah.
It levels out over time, of course. You know, we all get to travel more and we get to build our confidence on the East Coast. But yeah, it was funny to see that. Like that's really interesting to notice that it's the same kind of thing repeating itself.
Yeah, that's right. And that was like when I was just like, man, I want to like keep following this, and I'm guessing I'll be versing these guys all my life, and I want to be traveling with them and you know, doing all that cool stuff, and I'm like, these are the boys I want to be traveling with.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, let's continue on the story then, because like from that cadet national title, that must have been a bit of an opening for you. You must have probably got a couple of sponsors off the back of it. It must have gotten a bit more real.
Yeah.
What happened after that? Like, what was the next kind of
milestones? Of was because I was so early into it. I had Inverted, so the local shop that sponsored me since, they were my first sponsor and still to this day.
That's cool.
So shout out to them, Inverted.
Legend.
So I had them, and then after I won that, I remember, I did get hit up, and also Ben from Inverted sort of helped me get a few sponsors then. And that's when it really became sort of real to me that this is like, this could work out. You know, you start getting free stuff if you start getting free boards or
it's
like
a nice
some
feeling.
Free clothes and free weddies too. That was like a long time ago. I got some reflex weddies, and that was just wild. I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting all this free stuff.
I don't have to pay anymore.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. Well, my parents don't have to pay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That was probably like another big part of growing up when I was like, this is sick. Like, I'm getting heaps of free stuff, and like I'm comfortable in the water, and I'm really freaking enjoying it. Like I want to go and that was probably when I started being like, no, what I want to actually go travel and follow
take it to
this
the next level
a bit further than sort of just Queensland.
And you did, and like, I mean, you've done a number of cool trips. I mean, there's a lot of nice stuff coming out at the moment with you doing crazy invert reverses. Pretty sick. From that's some Philippine stuff, is it? Is that from the Philos, or
that was some older stuff from Samoa? It's much the same actually.
Okay, sick. So you've gotten a few trips under your belt, but in the meantime, you've also, you know, you've won the Australian tour 3 times, and you came on to the world tour. Like, when did you dabble in the world tour and all this? Because that's where I think a lot of people watching this and who might be listening to this are going like, why the hell isn't Cramsie up there kicking Tanner's ass, kicking Tristan's ass? You know, because,
I don't know about that.
Well, you know, you're in that.
I'd love to be in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people expect that you should be. So, what's going on? Like, why hasn't that step eventuated for you? What's the problem here?
I think it's got a lot to do with mental. You know, I think everyone would say this in probably all the interviews, but it's such a big thing. Like, your mental state. That's what you got to look after a lot. And I found myself like absolutely love traveling and love competing and all that. But if I'm traveling and if I'm sort of traveling by myself and not with a group, I tend to kind of have meltdowns, and then I really start struggling to do things, and then all of a sudden it ends up in like
bad
kind
results.
Like a downward spiral. So I'll be traveling and I'll just start doing rookie stuff at the airport, like nothing major. It'll just be like, I got to fill out where I'm staying, and I'm like, oh, where is this? Like, it's on my phone somewhere, you know. And just random things like that, and then how long I'm staying for and who I'm flying back with, and then it'll be a downward spiral. And I've really sort of struggled to travel by myself, as lame as that sounds. I sort of
is what it is.
I hate it. I'd love to be able to, but I don't seem to do well. Sort of, it's almost like I need someone to look after me. As bad as that is, but and then
anyone want to travel with Lockie when the world tour comes back? And
I need someone to
chaperone him.
Yeah, chaperone me.
B's board caddy. That's probably something we can look into. I'm sure anyone listening to this might be interested.
And just do all the basic things.
Just
for
book
some
him
reason
in.
I can't do.
Yeah, exactly. Bathe him in the evenings.
Yeah. That's a major
That's a must.
thing.
No, that's okay. So that's interesting. So like that explains Because I remember when you came. Well, you didn't do too badly in Brazil. You finished 9th in Brazil, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's a decent result. But still, I kind of think, I think I was actually watching that heat online. I didn't go to Brazil that year, and I think I skipped out after Arica. But you had I think it was a heat against Pierre, maybe man on man.
Yep.
And you were was it Pierre or someone else that was kind of significant? I was like, wow, he's winning this.
It was such a big heat, and the scores are pretty high.
Really
we kept
high.
Doing some big airs. I think I didn't land maybe a really big invert that would have been a big score, maybe got me through.
Yeah, exactly. I remember watching it, kind of just like, come on, he's nearly there, and then it's like, but Pierre, winning a heat against Pierre is pretty rare and pretty special when you get it. But so like you didn't have always terrible results, but you did. You kind of bombed a bit in the Chile one though, right? Like
so that was maybe the start of it. Like I travelled there and sort of didn't really travel with a big group. Got there and I was like, didn't really know where I was staying, and it was all a little bit sketchy. And I sort of struggled. Like I ended up staying with a few of the boys, like Shaden, and Jack Baker, which was sick. So they looked after me. So thanks, boys. But I just ended up sort of trying to do my own thing and getting waves, and then I just couldn't get into the rhythm, and little things kept going wrong, and that's kind of when I started a little downward spiral went. And I think, it is an excuse, but that was maybe part of the reason why I just really couldn't get in rhythm in Chile, whereas the years, I went there 2 years previous to the last time I went, and I just had such a sick time. Like, I got
was that back in 2011 or 2013 or something like that?
Yeah, sorry, that was
way
a
back,
few years back.
Yeah.
And I just had such a good time, got so many fun waves, and I got smoked all the time. Like I was going for big airs and getting pumped, but
it was super competitive back then too.
Yeah.
That was when the IBA was in full swing.
Yeah, and but after I sort of settled in, I kind of bombed out in Chile, and then I got a little bit more comfortable for Brazil, and maybe that's why I did a bit better. And I sort of got a few more fun waves free surfing as well in Brazil, whereas Chile I put so many hours in and I just didn't find myself enjoying it because I couldn't get the right waves, and so. But
it can be
Brazil
a tricky wave that too.
It can be tricky, especially when it's big. It's like, I found myself either getting closeouts or getting one that didn't have a section or a bowl or anything.
Yeah. No, the left as well is pretty gnarly when it gets bigger, I reckon. Like, you're taking off and you kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen next, and now I'm committed to this wave. And I could get the best barrel of my life, or I could just get absolutely drilled and then I'm on dry reef. So, I know the ups and downs of that wave for sure.
Yeah.
My experiences.
Yeah, you've had a few good waves out there.
Good ones, and also getting smashed as well, getting torn to shreds. So.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's an interesting wave, but I mean, that experience off the back of it, I feel like you learnt obviously a bit about yourself and what you need to have in place to compete
100%
better. So is that something like, is the fire still burning then for you to have a crack, or is it something that's kind of slowly leaving your grasp?
I think the fire's still there for sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely figured out that like I want to enjoy it. If I'm not enjoying it, or if I put too much pressure on myself, I'm not going to do well. Like, I can almost guarantee I'm not going to do well in the comp. So no matter what happens, I need to be sort of happy whilst I'm competing. And if I wouldn't say aggressive, but if I'm really into it and really like I have to do good, then I'm not going to. So when I'm doing these comps, I definitely know now, like I want to enjoy it, basically, and I want to be there for the excitement and the fun of the comp, and not to pressure myself into I must make the final, or I must do so and so.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's one wave at a time, isn't it?
It is.
Like, I think that's
one
how...
wave at a time. That's exactly right. Yeah. So you can't be thinking about the next
surfing
thing
your final before you're paddling out for your first heat.
Yeah.
But it's but this competitive instinct's clearly in you, and it's obviously something you want to develop. I mean, with the current state of the world, I mean, we're kind of breaking the social distancing rule right now, but that's all right. But I mean, it's a really weird time, and there's a lot of uncertainty. How are you keeping yourself in the form you want to, like, keep yourself in to be ready to launch back onto that when the time comes? Like, what are you doing about it?
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's so true. Like, I usually, well, before the COVID and the corona and all that, I'd be going to gym, and sort of that was kind of my happy, between gym, waves and spearfishing and diving, they were my happy places, kind of thing. And so when that got taken away, it was either like diving or surfing, and it was all at the beach. And so that made it a little bit harder. So I haven't been sort of training for ages. Like, I've done training outside and done some fitness and that, but
Yeah.
I just think the whole, I don't know, for some reason I really enjoy going to gym and doing fitness in there. Not necessarily lifting weights, but just doing things in there.
You're a bit of a beefcake though. Like, you're a pretty strong dude.
Not at the moment.
But like even like when you're in your form, like
Yeah.
you're not that kind of typical skinny little
Yeah.
runty bodyboarder, which is kind of interesting because I've noticed in your approach, like, it's always very powerful and quite explosive. Is that kind of an advantage for you, or do you look at other guys that are a bit more kind of loose and flexible and go, I wish I could be a bit more like that? Like, how do you feel about your own performance?
I think that it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think. In the positive side, because I may have a bit more power, I can sort of, especially in the smaller waves, you can sort of force things and get things done nice and easy.
Yeah.
But also, if there's a bit of extra weight on me, then that makes it 100 times harder.
Yeah.
And
Reminds me a lot of Lester's physique. Like, Lester was always that guy that had, he could put on that bit of extra muscle, and he was quite thick, and he wasn't that skinny kid he was, like, he became a man, and it was like, okay, now he's still got to do this, but he still managed to have so much power in small waves. It was really interesting to see just how maybe it was a technique thing to work with that kind of weight and muscle, like, it's interesting to look
and it
at.
is interesting to see people's different sort of styles and that in waves, but just how tall and how skinny they are. Like, if there's someone really tall and skinny that's surfing, like, how they ride the waves and what they do, I guess, especially with their legs and grabbing the waves and that, whereas like someone short and kind of a bit stocky like me is like a lot different. So it's kind of cool when you sort of break it down a little bit more like that as well.
I reckon it'd be interesting to see you at Sintra in Portugal, just to see how you'd go there, because it's bloody hard competition. That's one of the hardest ones, I reckon. Like, it's a beach break, it's definitely not the best one, and then you just got to deal with it and try and find the result.
So much things going on.
And I reckon it'd be an interesting case for you to look at and go like, okay, how am I going to win this one? I mean, it can be 10 foot for day one, and then it'll be 1 foot for the last day. It's pretty wild, but it'd be interesting to see you back out there. I mean, when it comes to like the people who support you, are they on board when it comes to the competition stuff or not? Like, I mean, no, I'm not asking you to criticise your sponsors, but I mean, is there an appetite for them to see you get a world title?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, obviously it'd be epic to get it, but at the moment it's just, I think we all find it pretty hard in Australia because, say if an Aussie, say if I got a world tour this year or next year when the tour's going on, like, there's not much going on in Australia about the world tour. Like, there's not much out there saying, like, online and that. It's all just free surfing and clips and like cool surfing and that. There's not much to do with comps at the moment, which is a bit annoying. So as good as it actually would be, and I would love to win a world tour, like, the fire's still there for sure. At the moment, I don't know if it'd be the best thing ever for my career. I think, like, I would rather have the best year of my life getting waves, maybe. Well, actually, I'd rather win the world tour.
There you go.
In all honesty, I'd rather win the world tour, but for my career, I think it would be better to get the best waves of my life in a year than
and film it and whatnot. It's a hard thing, hey. Like,
but I'd rather win the world tour.
But isn't it like frustrating maybe for you, because you seem? It was definitely frustrating for me back in the day because I was more competition focused, and other guys who got the videos and got on with that. But is it a frustration to deal with this reality in bodyboarding where there's this kind of there's these dual forces pushing against each other? Like, we want you to competing's great, but we don't get the photos we need. But free surfing's better because we get all the content we need. And Instagram's stacked, and everybody froths. Like, it's kind of, it's super hard to get them both, hey?
It is super hard, hey, and I'm not sure how it is in other countries at the moment, but yeah, it's just kind of, the tour seems to be struggling at the moment, in Oz anyway, like to get us to go, I don't know what the other boys are like and that are, like, everyone that's sponsored in Oz, but it doesn't seem like that's what, like, the sponsors really want us to do at all. Like, I mean, they do want us to do it, but you can get more benefits out of doing other things for that type of money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is annoying. Like, it'd be sick to do the world tour, and I still plan to do it 100%. Hopefully after this COVID finishes, hopefully that can piss off ASAP.
See when that happens. Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm still 100% ready for it, and I really want to chase the tour, and I think if I can get my mindset correct and enjoy it, then man, I want to do all the comps for sure.
And a good chaperone.
Yeah, and a good chaperone too. Yeah.
Maybe that's the shout out down the line. But
yeah.
I reckon we'll wrap this podcast there. I think it was a nice little chat.
Yeah.
We're at the sweet spot. So thanks for taking me for a surf at your local, mate. It looks like it's actually getting better. I'm just looking through to seeing guys get barrels now.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah.
Just give us that $10 for getting out there.
We'll see.
It was it was a fun little wave, and it was awesome to catch up with you as well. Like,
stoked.
Sometimes it can be a few months between, us boogers seeing each other.
I know.
So.
It is funny. Hey, that's definitely. I've noticed a lot of the guys. That's what they miss a lot when I chat about it. They're just kind of missing the crew they used to cruised with.
For sure. Like we were talking about the little Sunny Coast comp this weekend.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
a little get together, and you and Hardy, and there's going to be some people there. It's going to be awesome.
Fun.
I'm actually lifeguarding it at the beach at Maroochydore, so
have to swing by on your clubby board.
Yeah, I'll drop in on everyone on the lifeguard board. So I'll make my way down and sort of hang out. Hopefully it's not too busy, and I'll be able to spend some time down there.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, it should be awesome. So
maybe the last little note for anyone out there is if you do have a local bodyboard club, bloody join it if you're not in it.
Yeah, get into it. It's a cool fun thing. And also it's a really good family thing, hey, for the younger kids. Like it's sick watching the parents, get into it and get into the barbecues or whatever they want to do. But days like this, man, like what else do you want to be doing?
Yeah.
I'd love to be down there, day at the beach. The kids can go run them up with all the other kids, and they can be tired by the afternoon and learn a few things and get into a sport that's really awesome.
Finishing it right there, that was great. Thanks, mate.
Yep.
The boogie.